This new moon in Taurus feels incredibly fertile, but not in the way that most people think. When you think about manifestation, we imagine something that is happening very, very rapidly. But this new moon in Taurus is something that is deeply rooted in your being. And I keep hearing the eternal essence. It's an eternal essence that is grounding you in your mission on earth. It's things that are structuring, things that are taking form beneath the surface that will soon be revealed to the world. This is earthy. Your silence is its own transmission. Trees do not announce their growth. It's very much that type of energy. It's something that's announcing itself through your very embodiment. And we'll go ahead and explain this further because, you know, as we move through these cycles and the universe being a conscious organism that is intelligently self-organized in the ecosystem that it holds within it, we are part of that ecosystem. And so movement within the cosmos then becomes inseparable to the journey that's unfolding before you when it comes to life on this planet. So let's talk about it further, right? This is about the descent that happens, a hidden transformation. And I'm seeing it as an ace being recovered and then revealed to the world. But you are that ace. Anyway, it kind of reminds me of you're going to disappear and then reappear unrecognizable, and I'll touch on that further, but let's just talk about the new moon in Taurus kind of themes in general, right? So it's all to do with grounding, it's to do with abundance. I'm also hearing self-soothing, so things that you're doing to allow yourself to feel more sensual. You know, it's a 𝓲𝓻𝓻 energy, so it rules the five senses, what allows you to be immersed within the physical material existence. And it's a new moon that's sitting upon two aspects. One of them is a fixed star called Algol, and we'll talk more about her story. She is heavily linked to Medusa. And the second one is Ceres. Ceres it's Demeter in Greek mythology. It's also Hathor energy in ancient Egyptian mythology. This is telling us that there is a hidden transformation that's occurring where you're disappearing and then re-entering into the world along this 6-month journey that you're now embarking on. All right, anyway. Sorry. Okay, I won't apologize because there's just so much to it, and I've just been sitting here for a while, actually for a couple days, wondering how to share this story. But I guess the best way to share it would be the story of Persephone and Demeter, so you can deeply understand Ceres and the energy of this new moon. So, story time! We have Demeter, or Ceres in Greek mythology, and she was the goddess of the earth. She ruled over the agricultural cycles, so she was heavily depicted as somebody who was extremely fertile, and she represented this nourishment. And she had her daughter called Persephone, who was one day playing in the spring fields and was abducted by Hades and taken to the underworld. And while Persephone was gone, Demeter fell into such a deep grief that the earth stopped producing life. The crops died, the land became barren, and nothing could grow anymore. So eventually a deal was struck where Persephone would spend part of the year in the underworld and part of the year returning back to earth with her mother. And that became the explanation for the seasons. And it's only because she didn't eat the full pomegranate, okay? She only ate half of the seeds. So she spent half of the year in the mortal realm and then the other half in the underworld. Now, the thing is, this is kind of your story right now, where there's been this descent into the shadow realm in order to reclaim hidden or abandoned aspects of yourself and thus the lineage. So I'm seeing it as some type of powerful re-emergence that's going to be happening for you. I'm hearing anything that's been underestimated, or the one who enters the forgotten world and returns with knowledge and is able to actually apply that wisdom and perhaps even impart that wisdom among their fellow world line travelers. Okay, I almost want to space-time travelers, all right, but we've come into this world line collision. So embedded into that series story, we understand that this is a cycle of the soul. It's a deep understanding when it comes to your own cyclical nature. Okay, it's you're seated right now at a very specific coordinate upon the Fibonacci sequence, where you're soon to be looking at your current conditions on Earth from a higher resolution and understanding the value of the experiences that you've been through and also that you're currently undergoing. All right, it just feels like there's a transformation that is happening. So it's a season of descent. It's a season where part of us has felt buried in the underworld, but there's also this return that's happening. And there's this quote with Persephone's story, and it basically says, well, you can cut all the flowers, but you can't stop spring from coming. And I'm just seeing this for you. There is something that's going to be springing. There is something that's going to be emerging, and it's coming from the reclamation of your power. And of course, this beautifully ties with Algol as well, who is a fixed star. And Algol, she is usually associated with things to do with beheading, things to do with she's a death star, right? So we understand that death is not the end. It's just energy that is transforming itself. And that is what's happening right now. There is a hidden transformation that's occurring that's leading to the shedding of this skin so that a new you can emerge. It's kind of reminds you of the phoenix rising from the ashes moment, where you've had to experience yourself as the ashes so that you could then experience yourself as this phoenix energy that's rising. And when it does rise, you can see its fire because it has this contrast of the dark night sky that it's able to move upon. And this is about the brightest stars shining on the darkest nights. And this is a season in which you've moved through. It's a season in which you are going to come out on the other side of, and stronger because of it. Because if you talk about Medusa's story or Algol's story, she carries this theme of transformation that happens, but it's through survival. And people often fear Algol, right? Because she's represented or associated with themes to do with death or betrayals or obsession or even confronting the shadow self. But when you look deeper into Medusa's story, it's not a story of just destruction. It is a story of transformation that could not have occurred without these set of circumstances that she had undergone or moved through. And it reminds us that there's this feminine force within us, one that's untouched by time, one that is unaffected by what has occurred on all our space-time travels. And when we stop abandoning ourselves and we stop existing solely through the perception of others and we reclaim our power in a way that is unapologetic, then there is this force that has been kind of underestimated or suppressed or repressed that you'll be releasing into the world. And that's why I feel this new moon is so incredibly potent, because both Medusa and Persephone, they return from this hidden season that they've moved through, and Persephone is no longer the innocent girl that she once was. You know, it's like she returns back to the mortal realm, and she's now the queen of the underworld. She has a little, essence to her. She is different. And it's the same with Medusa. She undergoes this hidden transformation, and it can often be something that's feared, because what happens when you own the shadow? Well, you come out of the underworld embodying a complete different expression. It's the integration of both the light and the dark. And naturally, this shows me that what it is that you'll be experiencing as an extension of the universe, as a universal, multiversal organism of consciousness that's also playing a role into the larger unfoldment of these collective shifts that we're experiencing, is this transformation that's occurring within your own journey. It's you integrating the parts of yourself that can no longer stay hidden or disconnected from your power. And that's what people are going to be seeing. It's a being who moves through the world and they somehow look like their soul. And when I say that, I mean it in the way that there is a complete congruency in the way that you roam and navigate this planet Earth. And it's somebody who is rooted in all their endeavors. It's somebody who is grounded in who they are. They are anchored firmly, deeply on the earth. We only feel anxiety or disconnection from our power when we don't know why we're here. And there is this deeper sense of purpose that this new moon is seeding within you in many ways, right? It's something that is going to be germinating and coming forth, and you're going to see how that translates into your outward material existence. So I'm seeing by the time that harvestation reaches and we have that full moon in Taurus, I don't even know if you're going to recognize yourself or the life in which it will be your new normal at that point. And it's something that you're kind of being prepared for in many ways. So I'm just seeing powerful intentions being seeded right now in where you're directing your life force. Also, it's worth mentioning that to those around you, this may not be so apparent at first. This is going to be something that is happening behind the scenes during this time. It's where your values are changing, your belief systems are changing as you're going through this identity shift. So what it is that you used to tolerate is going to naturally be evolving, and what you value is also going to be transforming. And so naturally, when you do return, you're no longer the same version of you that entered the underworld. It's you walking, kind of reminds you of the wormhole energy, right? The person that you were going into the wormhole is not the same person that you were leaving or walking or stepping out of it. So it's a complete new embodiment. And this is the thing with true transformation. It asks us to transform our relationship to our fear, our relationship to themes of survival. And because of that breakdown, we're being called to no longer fear our transformation. It's not that you're inadequate. We do not fear that we're inadequate, right? We fear that we are powerful beyond measure. And anywhere that we feared our own change, that growth could occur and evolution will be a natural side effect of that, we will be confronting that within ourselves, right? Where we've been holding ourselves back. The grief and emotional winter has actually been preparing you to step into a version of self that could not have existed before the descent. The Sabian symbol that we're going to read for the new moon in Taurus is at 26 degrees of Taurus, and this is a Spaniard serenading a señorita. The symbol speaks to resourcefulness and a man's ability to make himself at home and find whatever he needs wherever he is. The image of a Spaniard serenading a señorita romantically illustrates the pursuit of an ideal, and the suggestion here is that reality is self-created, or that anything becomes real and possessed only as the individual contributes to its creation and becomes a part of it. So it's co-creation. This is incredibly important, right? When we're talking about the new moon in Taurus, right? When we're speaking about this lunation, it's asking us to not passively wait for abundance or wish for it, but instead it's asking us to actually cultivate this harvestation, right? What seeds are you actively, physically planting in your reality that are going to take root and have a really strong, firm foundation for what will eventually become your harvestation season? This is about what it is that you're committing yourself to when we speak about Taurus energy, right? What you're willing to consistently water until it becomes real. And on a practical level, this degree suggests that the harder a thing is worked for, the more it's valued and appreciated. At its highest, this represents idealism, a deep passion for life, and a refusal to give up until the goal is reached. And you can think about this as being deeply devoted to something. All right, it could even be like a dog with a bone type of element, right? Where, you know, this is something that it's a part of you. It reminds you of binary star, where it's something that's always been transversing your path. It's inseparable. And I'm just seeing the most conducive thing that you can do right now. And when we speak about the gifts of the soul, it's innately tied to the things that bring you profound joy. The things that bring you profound joy and your abundance and authenticity are inseparable from each other. That's what path to abundance. Something we value, something we desire, something that we feel emotionally and spiritually pulled towards cultivating. So it's this deep wellspring that is calling you, and it's calling you from the subterranean depths of your own heart that's eventually leading you to an external spring oasis. So watch for laziness and a preference for getting one's way through manipulation, sweet talk, or flattery. The accent is on creative resourcefulness. The greatest advantage lies in finding a new and clever way to get what you want accomplished for your goals. Emotional appeals are the most effective. Guard against letting yourself get talked into agreeing to something that you may regret later. Try not to let your heart rule your head. And put off making important decisions until you've had time to think it over. The stepping stones are romance, desire, passion, courtship, pursuit, resourcefulness, design, and orchestration. So what are you orchestrating? This is perfect when we speak about that new moon and Taurus energy, because there is some type of passion, there is a pursuit, there is this profound desire that you're going to feel emerging from you during this time. And I don't feel it's a time to be announced. It's a time for you to really get acquainted with what this is and be able to take physical application with your free will to materialize this into reality, because your intention, when supported with action, is kinetic energy. It creates momentum, velocity, right? It generates this field around you, and then that sends ripples through space-time that you're later going to be able to intersect with. So can you anchor and ground your future into the present moment? Where has there been any inconsistencies, or you hiding from that power, right? This is about creative accountability, being able to I'm hearing account for your own creations. We are always seated in the effect of cause, which is conscious or unconscious, of the past, right? So we are seated right now in a culmination of all our past decisions. And right now we're being called to loosely guide ourselves towards our chosen destination, and that's the journey that's unfolding. So it really is about no longer sleeping on your potential, no longer hiding your own power. It's going to happen through consistency, persistence, growth that will happen, and it's inseparable from your devotion. Okay. So my biggest message to you during this new moon in Taurus is, what are you devoted to? How devoted are you to nourishing your soul's journey, right? To honoring the soul's journey. And what choices, throat chakra energy, right? Huge throat chakra energy right now when we talk about Taurus energy. Taurus is the throat. Authenticity. What feels authentic to you at this stage of your evolution journey? And so with Algol and Ceres both seated in a conjunction with this new moon, the universe is asking for us to finally and consciously reclaim our power and reclaim the things that nourish us after a long season of survival. Those situations don't have to be something that define us, but they can refine us into becoming more of an advanced, wise, and almost higher, again, octave expression of ourselves. And so it's going to happen through cultivation. It's not going to happen through force. It's about the things that you're weaving, right? It definitely reminds you of a Queen of Wands energy, but specifically the, I'm actually going to read it because this is what I'm seeing in my mind's eye, and this is how we do tarot nowadays. So, all right, let me go ahead and find it. It's the Queen of Coins in this deck, but she's called the Geomancer here. And so it reminds me of some readings that I've done back in the day, where I was basically saying the geomancer is the seed, but the seed is inseparable from the tree, because within the seed lies the DNA of it growing into its full potential. And that's you being seeded onto this planet. You are inseparable from the harvestation. You're only experiencing the illusion of separation, and that is time. Time is a construct that we attempt to measure something that is eternal, essentially. It's you moving through the eternal now. So we have the geomancer. I'm going to go ahead and read it for you. You can see she is reminiscent of the all-seeing eye in this deck. And I'm seeing this as you right now, right? And she's navigating this life map. Where is the book? Let me see. Quick. I got you. Hold on, hold on. The Geomancer. Honestly, we will feel frustrated if we are... If there is an inconsistency between the things that we want and the life that we desire and how well we're actually applying ourselves in the physical realm to support that vision. Prayer without movement is just noise, and prayer and gratitude are inseparable. The real form of prayer is gratitude, being able to be grateful for the physical existence and how we can actually apply ourselves to make things happen, to set things in motion. Again, intention with action is kinetic energy. So, Geomancer, the Queen of Pentacles. She is generous, sensible, and nurturing. The Geomancer moves about as if they have roots connected to the very ground beneath their feet. Dressed in gifts from nature, the Geomancer walks lightly and with mindfulness. Donning a mask reminiscent of the all-seeing eye, they organize particles of matter between their fingertips, offering sustenance to the seedlings below. In a reading, the Geomancer is symbolic of a deep connection to the earth and its alluring powers. They channel this earth magic with such compassion and comfort that it almost moves through them like a conduit. The Geomancer embodies a generosity and asks us to be sensible about how we spend our money and what we can do to nurture the earth. They have a remarkable ability to see upcoming events by reading the earth's past and can cast a shield of light in a dimming world. And this is the new earth energy, if you think about it, right? This is about the new earth being something that is within you, right? 5D is not a location, it's a state of consciousness. And the thing is, once you ascend to 5D consciousness, you realize that there is just a selection of choices available to you that you can actually apply yourself to, right? It's a series of choices, it's a journey of choices that you'll experience, and that's all life is. It's the experiencing of the journey of your choices. Let's take a minute to sit in that, because there is so much power in taking creative accountability of sometimes when we find ourselves, and this is the shadow, right? This is the shadow, finding ourselves in timelines. I have to be careful with how I have to be careful of how I articulate this, because we have some transits going on today where I'm aware of my communication style, okay? But it's just a level of passion about it. There's passion behind it because you are a powerful, infinite being. And when we find ourselves in timelines that aren't super conducive or that we don't want to be in, we can actually exit those set of circumstances by beginning to put something new in motion, even if we're not currently it's about not abandoning ourselves and abandoning our desires, right? How can we gently begin to maneuver, weave, right, in our fingertips what it is that we desire to experience in the material existence? And is that aligned with your integrity? Are these shifts that we even have to announce? Are these not just shifts that we embody, right? That is the 5D of the new earth. It's the embodiment of the higher self. It's the embodiment of this system that we move through. What would it look like to move through the system, always remembering that you are connected to everything and you are everything and everything is you? Always remembering the desire to remember oneself when moving through the material plane. That's what this is. So that new earth energy arises when we move through the system, no longer in fear, no longer in division, no longer seeing ourselves as separate from what it is that we desire, but we are our very desire. And we can evolve and grow ourselves and begin making decisions in the present that are in resonance with what our highest expression is. How would the highest self navigate my current set of conditions or circumstances and see beyond any perceived limitations when it comes to this? So the new earth is a state of awareness, right? It's not just a location. It's you being in this world, but you're perceiving it from higher levels of internal dimensions that allow you to access alternate expressions and timelines that are always available for you, but it's just that you're choosing to focus on what it is that you can do instead of what it is that you feel limited by. So yeah, we'll talk more about that, right? But it begins with you. It begins with how you choose to treat yourself as you move through this existence too, right? And becoming empowered by your choices. There's some type of shift. It just feels like a passionate new seed. I'm going to go ahead and get a content message for this, right? We have Cosmic Ether. This is I'm going to read it for you. It's a powerful card. Cosmic Ether talks about, well, a plasma. It essentially talks about the unseen element, right? The fifth element, which is ether. And the thing is, the mind travels through ether. It travels through time. They are actually inseparable from one another because it's points in time that you can either receive previews through your imagination around, or it's points in the past that we can revisit with the mind. Cosmic Ether talks about something that you can't see, yet you're still a part of this greater system at hand. The enigma that only you can solve. Controversy. A delicate and light element of full purity. It's the primordial energy of light from which everything else begins before it takes material form. It's the fifth element after fire, earth, water, and air. Complete transparency. It has always been considered a mysterious element, and although few have defined it, many have spoken about it. Plato calls it the most translucent kind of air. In Sanskrit, it's referred to Akasha, which means a sacred place. Now, did you notice that we spoke about the memory of the earth in the geomancer? This is the Akashic network. It's every single human being has the ability to read the Akashic records. All it is the DNA of the earth, which is literally within you. It's the final culmination point, and I will tell you firsthand, when you see the Akashic library, you will see the full landscape of time, space, and all the timelines that were available for you to experience. But it's where your inaction simply did not allow you to access those timelines, where your deepest desires and dreams were part of your normal existence. It was inseparable from you. The desire to remember yourself while immersed in the dream and having and cultivating and sustaining this level of awareness, which is lucidity, that's an ongoing state of awareness, leads to mastery over the mind, mastery over your emotions, which leads to mastery over matter in the physical material existence. So it's a superlunar energy. It's the fifth element, and it's something transparent, devoid of weight and friction, and filled all of space. By denying the existence of ether, we are assuming that there are no physical properties within empty space. The fundamentals of quantum mechanics are not aligned with this perspective. We may say that according to the general theory of relativity, space is endowed with physical qualities. In this sense, therefore, there exists an ether. According to the general theory of relativity, space without ether is unthinkable. You are the ether that you breathe. It's never my sadness to take on, but boy, oh boy, something that gives me life in the work that I do and I've devoted myself to is that moment of reclamation of a fractal of infinite potential's power. Right? Because we are all fractals of infinite potential, and you being aware of the fact that your infinite potential doesn't negate the fact of what it is that you are. And when we remember it, that gives me life. To witness that coming back to yourself. And that's why I say welcome home, family. To be seated in this remembrance is first of all privilege, but then being able to exercise that in the way that you move through this existence, remembering who you are and what you're part of, and the bigger system that you're always interconnected with, and making decisions and taking action from that place of coherence. Right? Mastery over matter at your fingertips. Chef's kiss. What are you cooking up, right? So seeing is believing, or believing is seeing. Meanwhile, the ether looks down from above with a sly grin that suggests both enjoyment and complicity. The great scheme of all their work, which humbly remains anonymous, as only vanity would make us know its name. We refer to the medium through which light spreads, even though we know the human eye is unable to see all types of light. Ergo, it may be that we are leaving out much more than the visible light spectrum and relying on only the tangible, visible, endorsed, and verified facts. Power is always within you. Power and the source of your power is always within you. See, we've moved beyond, and I'm saying this with so much love, we have moved beyond Saturn in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. We are now in Aries energy, honey. We are now in Aries energy. Power is not always, for those who believe that power is always elsewhere and you are just subject to the forces that are beyond your control, you won't be here listening to this at this point, because it's going to be deeply triggering and stirring things within all of us. Be seated in your power and remember who you are. Reconnect to what it is you've always been, which is a highly abundant being. All that's happening is that you're removing the belief systems that have distorted your vision in seeing yourself clearly. The human who seeks to understand everything will only understand when he stops wanting to understand. Sometimes we look for answers and return with millions of more questions. I'm going to get one gateway of the light activation message, and then I'll probably love and leave you right there, because I got some things to do today, but I wanted to get this message out here. It's an important one. And this is, it's unconditional love, because it's discernment. It's being able to understand the planes of consciousness in which we operate under and move through the system, and not sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves. This is about alchemy. Our goal energy is about not losing one's head in the material existence, right? It's remembering whom you are as you move through the existence. It's reclamation of the shadow. It's full integration, where the shadow and unconscious part of us can just want to what's guiding you? Because if the unconscious is guiding your life, right? Carl Jung said it best. Until the unconscious becomes conscious of itself, it will continue to guide your life, and you'll just call it fate. And if you have not experienced great change, or you feel as if you haven't been experiencing great change up until now, it's not going to be all of you, but it will be a small minority. Where have you been resisting the universe intervening in your life? Star being healing codes into communication with plasma that shifts the way you feel about your journey on Earth, especially emotionally. Star being, important information. Wounds are healed, recharging. So what you're healing is what it is you're becoming whole with. This isn't about dimming yourself or keeping yourself small. We get to choose, right? We get to experience the journey of our choices. That's all. this existence is. And there's beauty in that. If when we don't like where we are, what effect we're seated in, we get to make new choices, which lead to a new unfoldment and journey in which we'll experience. I'm hearing know when to diverge. If the world seems overwhelming or intense at this time, know that it's okay for you to retreat to a safe space to cleanse and recharge your energy. You may feel like you're being called to be a healer for others and share your healing with the world, but please ensure that you are in a balanced place filled with light fast. This is not the time for you to sacrifice your own well-being to serve others. Light beings are placing their hands upon you now, filling you with the divine light that will wash away any blockages or stagnant energy standing in the way of your freedom and wholeness. Star beings are channeling healing codes and frequencies into your being, so it's important for you to stay alert for any intuitive guidance about your body so that you can be restored to health once more. Plasma, ether, unseen, Akashic Stargate here at the base. Talks about there being no wrong path. See, all the Akashic Records it's the interconnected database that stores a living memory of all organisms from the past, present, and future simultaneously. All versions of yourself. All infinite journeys of how your life can unfold. And the greatest illusion is that anything was ever holding us back. So it's fear. It's confronting fear and changing our relationship with fear during this new moon. Holding space for that octave that we are hosting within us simultaneously, and saying we can be fearful about something but then also excited simultaneously. That is the paradox in which you are. And I see, right, the opposite of Taurus energy is Scorpionic energy. It's the things that deeply drive us and are repressed and suppressed. Fears, the psyche, and it's also transformation. Transforming your relationship with yourself first and seeing yourself clearly will assist you in navigating this construct a lot more fluidly. So I trust you. I trust you. I trust how this is unfolding. It's the merging with the highest possible expression. It's not a message for the faint of heart. It's definitely not an energy for the faint of heart, but yeah, I'm gonna love any of you right there. Personal reading details are down below. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. It's definitely a very, very powerful, potent energy. So yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Until next time. Bye.